friends.
Hi guys, how are we?
It feels so good to be back. It's been a minute.
I hated recording without you. That was like the most uncomfortable thing I think I've ever done.
Hey, but
Actually,
she killed
ever?
it. Guys, she killed it. Go back and listen if you didn't. Ellie's story is pretty powerful.
It was a fun one.
I get inspired by it every day. I hope you all do.
I love you. So
Yeah,
great.
I love you too.
We've got a good one today to celebrate us being
We
back
always
together.
have a good one.
It's always a good one. They get better as we go. Y'all know how this goes by now. We're just gonna cut straight to the chase today. We're gonna kick it off with that aggressive but effective statement. So this is episode episode number 7?
Yeah.
I think it's number 7.
7's my lucky number, friends. It's a great day. It's a great
Love
day.
it. So this is episode number 7. We have given y'all quite the blueprint for figuring out the big goals, creating the action plans to get there, teaching y'all how to show up for yourself. We've talked about all sorts of fun things. Some of y'all still haven't quite been able to figure it out yet. Here's the thing. Hard work without strategy is just glorified chaos. It's great if you have the big goal. It's great if you're taking the big action steps. But if you don't have a strategy or a system that's helping you get there efficiently and effectively, you're wasting your time. You're making it harder than it needs to be on yourself. This is like about making it as effective and efficient and maybe honestly easy as you possibly can to show up as your best self. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So it's great if you have these super big goals in place and you have all these action steps that you're taking to get there, but if there's no system or strategy behind any of it, it's just kind of chaos. You fall to your systems. Your results are a direct reflection of those systems. If you don't have systems, you don't have consistency. And we haven't quite talked about consistency yet, but if you don't have consistency, you don't have progress. Period. End of story. Systems are so important.
So yes, systems are very important. What is the goal of this episode? Ellie said systems kind of make it easier. It makes it more efficient. We want y'all to work smarter and not harder. That's just the ultimate thing, is working smarter, not harder. If you're just going and going and going and doing things that are absolutely not progressing you, you're actually working harder and you're not doing smarter. So we want you to just optimize your time, optimize your habits and your systems so that it works towards your benefit instead of you just spinning around in circles because you feel like it's working, but in reality it's not working. It's just pushing you backwards. Highly strategic and efficient is just the whole goal of this episode. It's all about finding what's most effective for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Efficiency is huge. It's one of those things that like Jill and I have talked about before, some of our like daily routines and how busy we are, and I feel like proof is in the pudding here. We would not be successful at what we do if we did not have systems that support us and help us be successful. It is all about efficiency. That's like one of my favorite hyperfixation topics that I'm kind of on right now, just with everything across the board, is how do I optimize everything for most efficiency. It's so important because inefficiency is just wasted energy, time, and potential. So if there's a system that you have, but it's taking up a lot of extra time and it's not very efficient and it's not getting to the point, or you're not improving with your system or any of those things, it's not helping you. It's wasting your time, it's wasting your energy, it's wasting your potential. This is how people hit burnout, guys, is when they're putting a lot of their energy into a big goal without a system that's helping them get there. It's just kind of chaotic. When you have effective systems, it helps cut out that downtime. It helps cut out those extra steps that you don't necessarily need. And it also helps you cut out the excuse of I don't have time. When you have a super effective system and a super effective schedule or a super effective routine, you cut out that downtime, you cut out that dead weight, gives you more time to work towards the things that you say that you're going to work towards. They're meant to help you. They're not supposed to restrict you. I think there's a misconception that systems and routine is like rigid and provides absolutely no flexibility, and it just makes your life harder and it just sucks. It's like actually quite the opposite. They're meant to help you. Again, like we've been talking about, it's about efficiency. It's about optimizing the things to give you more freedom, more flexibility. It just makes things easier for you.
So what is something that everybody's told you all throughout your life is confidence? I feel like a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, when you see someone just like walking through with just the utmost confidence about themselves, you're like, dang, I don't want to mess with them. They're great. They're awesome. They just have this like glow about them, honestly. And I feel like your parents have just said or told you at least to be confident, or if not your parents, somebody in your life has talked about confidence. What helps people be confident? Systems. We say that systems are sexy. They are effective. They are efficient. They're all the things, but you can move through life more effectively with clarity, confidence, and control if you have a system that is working for you. And that's sexy at the end of the day. That's just the best way to describe it. It's sexy. It's attractive. It's lovely to have things that just work in your way. way. I think we all can agree on that.
Absolutely.
What does a system do ultimately that gives you the confidence, gives you the control, gives you the clarity, it removes the friction? So what happens is when you don't have an effective system, you're just spiraling. You're like, oh my gosh, what do I do with this extra time? How do I do this? And then you just go on a tangent of probably 5 steps away from your track at the end of the day because you're just trying to, and then you're deciding, you're like, what do I do? What do I do? Most of the time, like, we've all scrolled through Netflix for like 5 hours trying to figure out what show to watch. And then we're just like frustrated with each other. I know my family and I do this when we want to watch a show. We're scrolling through Netflix. We all get frustrated because we've passed to like 20 shows and then we don't know what to pick. That's called decision fatigue. It's because like you're going through, you can't decide. Your brain's just like, oh my God, just pick something. And then everyone gets frustrated at each other because it's like, oh my God, pick something. Same with like food when in relationships, like your boyfriend asks to take you out to dinner. Like, I don't know what I want.
Yeah.
And then he gets frustrated at you and then you're frustrated. You're supposed to know what I want. Yeah, guys, decision fatigue. Like it's at the end of the day.
It's a real thing. And I feel like it applies to a lot of different things, whether it is scrolling on Netflix, trying to find a show that happened to me actually last night. It's like, I'm just going to chill and watch a show. And
It's
it
a
took
valid
forever.
excuse. Like,
That
it
also
happens.
can look like picking out your gym outfit in the morning. That also can look like finding a morning routine that works. It also can like any decision that you have to make takes up mental energy. And so when you have a system, it's all about making things automatic. It's like habitual. It takes up way less energy because you have to make less decisions. When you can cut out that decision fatigue, you can cut out those extra decisions that you have to make by pre-planning or by doing things in advance or by cutting out as many decisions as possible. You get to save a little bit of mental energy. So, like, a great example of this is if you wake up in the morning and you have to decide whether or not you're going to go to the gym. And then after you've decided that you are going to go, then you have to decide what you're going to wear for the gym. And then after you've decided that, then you have to decide what you're going to eat for breakfast and whether you're going to eat before or after the gym. There are all these decisions that you have to make. And by the time that you're in your car ready to go, if you get to that point, you've already wasted so much time that you could have prevented if you would have had a more effective system. One of the things that I like to do is set up my gym outfit the night before. I have my meal prepped and ready in the fridge before I even wake up the next day. Everything is ready to go so that once it's time for me to wake up and actually get to the gym, my alarm goes off, I get out of bed and I do the thing because it's already all laid out for me. I've already made the decisions. Cutting out decision fatigue is huge and helping to like free up some of that mental energy so that you have more time for the bigger and better things. By the time that you get to those big meaningful decisions, whether that's should I spend time with my loved ones tonight or should I go do something productive for myself or whatever the case may be, you're already behind because your brain is exhausted. If you can cut out that like those little decisions and make it easier and more systemized and automatic, you free up a lot of that mental energy. Think about, those people in your life that they have these systems and routines and you're like, everything is just so easy for them. They have so much discipline and motivation. Like, I don't know how they make it to the gym at 5 a.m. every single day. I don't know how they eat so healthy all the time. Like, they make it look so easy. And they do that because they have a system that makes it easy for them. It's about optimizing everything to give you better results.
And systems automate success. Ellie just said it, but it also turns into a habit. Once you do it more, it's just like natural. It helps it. But it's harder to fail when you have a system that works in your favor. Like Ellie said, she likes to set out her gym clothes before she wakes up in the morning. Like she knows what she's going to wear. She has her meal prepped. She knows by the time that she's going to leave, she has her skincare all set out in the morning. It's harder to fail when you just have to wake up and just do the actions because it's already decided for you. Think about that. Like we all meal prep our dinner. Meal prep's a big thing. I like to meal prep my dinner. I like to plan out things ahead. Then I'm like, not like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do for dinner tonight? I don't know. Great. I've got my homemade Chipotle bowl at home ready in the fridge. And that absolutely just like helps me relax at the end of the day ultimately. And then I just don't have that decision fatigue of like, oh my gosh, do I DoorDash? Do I do this? And then it honestly leads to impulsive decisions. Like I'm trying to save money. I didn't have this plan, but I'm going to DoorDash food because it's just easy, convenient. Like it's just because I was just tired of making a decision, didn't want to cook. It makes me tired and all that stuff.
Yeah,
if you have it all set out, then it's harder to fail at the end of the day. It makes discipline thoughtless. Like I said, it executes a habit. The more you do it, the more it becomes a habit. Ellie and I, again, 75 hard. I
Mhm.
know my friends are all like, Jill, shut up. I'm tired of hearing it. It's the greatest thing ever. But it's become a habit. Like at this
Yeah.
point, that's a great way
We
to
were
put it.
just talking about this. Some of these things that used to be so hard for us like a month and a half ago are like second nature to us at this point.
Waking up at 4 a.m. is like fun.
Yeah, it's enjoyable. Yeah, yeah,
I enjoy it, but I mean, the first few weeks of doing it sucks. Like I was
yeah,
like, oh my gosh, we
definitely.
had days we missed and all the things, but it now becomes a habit, and then now our system helps set us up for success because we just keep doing it. People are like, how are you doing it? I've done it multiple times, and then it helps me feel successful at the end of the day. How would it help? I already reduced my decision fatigue by laying out my workout clothes, meal prepping, all that stuff.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
Yeah, absolutely. It's all just about putting yourself in a position to be most successful when it comes time to execute. So it's like the prep work kind of. We've talked about showing up and kind of eliminating that extra. We've talked about all of these things. It's kind of all coming together in one big lovely little episode today. I One of the things that I like to say a lot is that it's like playing offense instead of defense because you're attacking your life instead of reacting to the things that happen to you. What does that mean? If you don't have a system, like I said a second ago, when you don't have systems, you're behind. You're scrambling in the morning because you don't know what you're going to wear, you don't know what you're going to eat, you're running a little bit late, and you spent 5 minutes trying to pick out an outfit. You're reacting to the things that are inconvenient to you instead of planning in advance. So when you realize you're running behind because you spent more time than you needed to picking out an outfit because you weren't prepared the night before,
we've all
you're
done it.
scrambling, you're running
We've all
late,
done it.
and then
I've
it
done it.
snowballs. You get more stressed as you go, and it's one of those things like your bag snags on the door handle just when you're stressed and trying to leave the house. You're overwhelmed with all these decisions that really shouldn't be consuming your time. Honestly, you could have avoided that whole morning meltdown if you would have planned your outfit the night before and you would have prepped your breakfast before you went to sleep. It's literally as easy as that. You're attacking before you need to react to it. The other big thing too is that a lot of people feel like structure is super rigid and that they don't have much freedom and flexibility with it, and that it sets you back because you're stuck in this little box of structure. It just sounds like a really rigid negative term. When you have structure, you're actually ahead. Your energy is already protected because you didn't start your day in chaos. Your mind is already clear because you're not playing catch up. You saved an extra 15 minutes just in making decisions alone. Your time isn't wasted because it's being used efficiently. Like I said a second ago earlier in this episode, not having systems is what leads to burnout. You can have the most productive morning ever, waking up at 4 in the morning, getting your things ready, going to the gym, doing all the things, and people are like, oh my God, how do you do it? And it's because you didn't have to waste the mental energy having the crisis of, oh my God, I don't have clothes in my closet to wear. What do I do? It's like having these structured systems helps you avoid burnout.
We talked about earlier Newton's laws of motion. The one object, or law number one, is an object in motion stays in motion. What helps you do that is a system. You don't even need to think about moving if you have a system and your decisions have already been made for you at the end of the day. I know how I need to wake up in the morning to feel successful. My nighttime routine is rigid. Like I have to do every step. Do I think about it at this point? No. Did I have to think about it to start with? Yes. But now that I just don't have to think about it, I just do it. It helps me do my motions. It's just like going through the motions at the end of the day. I'm not thinking about it. I just do it. It's habit to set up my red light and just read my book before I go to bed instead of just like having to think about, oh my gosh, I have the red light. No, it's already been decided for me. That's like my routine to set me up for success in the morning. And then if you don't do that system that you already have set up, then you're not going to feel successful moving forward. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, because I messed up here, I don't feel successful here. It all circles back to habits. The more you do it, the more habitual it'll be, the more it'll be easier for you to take on your life at the end of the day. And decisions aren't made for you because you've been doing it so much. We talked about toleration, and it's a silent killer. It compounds with this. If you're going to tolerate going away from your system, again, it's slowly going to sneak up on you. If you're going to tolerate just, oh, I'll skip that tonight. Oh, I just don't need a system for that. It's going to sneak up and kill you. You're going to run into things like decision fatigue, burnout, all that stuff. If you don't start implementing this, it might feel hard, but at the end of the day, it'll make it easy. Like you look at us, we're like doing all this stuff and people are like, how you do it? We've been doing it. It's a system.
Yeah,
it's a system at this point. When you set a system, you're consistent in your routine. It becomes your habit. Like I just said, my nighttime routine, like I have to set up my red light, diffuse my lavender oil to help me go to bed, spray the magnesium on my feet, all that stuff. Y'all are probably like, oh my gosh, this girl is so freaking weird on the other end of it. But guys, it helps me feel great at night. It helps me get a good night's rest, and it helps me wake up in the morning and feel successful. It's a system. it works differently for everybody. Obviously, not all of you are going to spray magnesium on the bottom of your feet before you go to
You
bed,
should though.
but
It's good for
it's
you.
a great thing for you. You should, but everyone needs to find the system that works for them to feel successful at the end of the day. Again, you're propelling yourself forwards without spending any real thought. It's just what you do. Like again, I just said spraying magnesium on my feet. It's what I do. It's just what I do to feel
Yeah.
successful and get a good night's sleep.
Absolutely. I think it's important to acknowledge, we'll kind of hit on this again in a little bit, but that your system at first isn't going to feel natural because it's about creating something new, adding something new to your routine. What does that mean? When Jill and I first started 75 Hard, I didn't have a lot of the systems in place that I do right now. This is something that I've kind of carefully curated and crafted into my life to help me be most efficient in what I'm trying to do. It's just like Jill said, it's not a one size fits all situation. It's going to be different for everyone. You're going to tailor it to yourself to make you most efficient, to make you spend your time a little bit better.
And also, like, it took Ellie and I multiple tries to figure out what works for
Yeah,
us. Like, for the
absolutely.
first few times, I was like, it didn't feel natural. A, so I had to get used to it. B, I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds like that worked, but I don't really think it did. And then it's just a trial and error process of what works for you. We're still doing trial and errors. We're going to try
Yeah, totally.
castor oil like at night. And that's weird, but like, we need the trial and error. Like, something wasn't working for us. We're going to try and replace it with this at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We don't like sleeping with the wraps. We're going to try it with a heating pad. Like, it's just weird shit, but trial and error to work
Yeah,
for us.
absolutely. Let's get into the nitty gritty a little bit about how to actually build a successful system that sets you up for success. Like we've been talking about this whole episode, your system is the foundation for how you show up in your day to day. When you have a really, really successful, well thought, well organized system, it makes, like we've said so many times, everything so much more efficient. The question is, how do you actually do that? Let's kind of get into it. The first one, we've talked a lot about standards and dead weight and things that aren't serving you and actions that are holding you back and bad habits that are keeping you from your goals. Number one, to build your successful system, you have got to cut the dead weight. If I am trying to optimize my morning routine for efficiency and like saved energy and effort, the last thing I need to be doing is waking up and scrolling on my phone in the morning. Figure out what is not serving you and cut it out. Before you can build a system that works for you, you need to remove the things that don't work for you. Otherwise, it's going to lead to burnout. You're trying to add things that are already not natural for you on top of the things that are already setting you back. It's a recipe for disaster. Find the dead weight, cut it, do the audit. Jill and I have talked about the audits for so many things. Your standards audit, your goals audit, your habits audit, literally audit your whole entire life. And then cut the things that are holding you back. What things are draining you? Write the things that are slowing you down and then eliminate them. Start there, remove the dead weight before you can move forward.
Great. So you remove the dead weight. Now, what do you replace it with? Is like your habits that you value and help you reach your why. So we all have circled back to our why. I hope. I hope we have it written down somewhere, or at least in our brain, that helps us determine why we want to reach the goal that we want to reach and the actions that we need to take to get there. Identify the core habits that'll help you get there at the end of the day and replace that dead weight with it. For example, if your goal is to get a 4.0 this semester, doom scrolling on TikTok at 8 p.m. until like midnight is not going to help you reach that goal. Maybe you replace that doom scrolling with TikTok with a little bit extra study time. Maybe like it's just flipping through a Quizlet a few times or something. You can always audit again and add things in to help serve you. Maybe it's like, okay, I need to walk today, but I also need to get the 4.0. Great. I'm going to scroll on my Quizlet instead of just listening to my hardcore rap music. It's not necessary and I need to study. So I might as well scroll through a Quizlet while I walk on the treadmill.
Yeah, absolutely. Cut the dead weight, replace it with the things that are actually helping you meet the goals. Step number 3, we've talked a lot about efficiency and optimization here. We're going to optimize our systems for automation. What does that actually mean? We're going to adjust our system and make it so strategic that it starts to become effortless. You want this system to work for you. Like Jill and I have kind of been saying, it's going to feel kind of unnatural at first because you're changing things in your routine. It's not quite yet a habit for you, so it's going to take effort at first. But the point of the system is to make it as effortless as possible, to make it as easy as it possibly can be. We've talked a lot about decision fatigue in this episode. the fewer decisions that you have to make, the easier your systems become, the easier that your day becomes, the easier it is for you to show up and work towards the things that you're trying to work towards. The more consistent you are in showing up in the system, the easier that it is. So you want the system to work for you. A great, like my favorite example of this is meal prepping on Sundays. Jill was kind of using the example of like if you don't have something in your fridge ready and then it comes time for dinner and you're tired and you've had a long day, the easiest thing to do is to pick up your phone and DoorDash. If you have your meal prepped in the refrigerator, it takes less time and less energy to grab it, microwave it, eat it for dinner. It's about making it as effortless as you possibly can. One of my favorite ways to do this, and I want to like spend a little bit more time talking about this in a later episode, I think, but habit stacking is a fantastic concept that every single person needs to apply to their systems that they have in their own life. Everyone has a system, whether you're aware of it or not. We all have systems. Habit stacking makes this so much easier. I learned this from one of my like most favorite podcasts ever, The Skinny Confidential. What this means is that you combine as many habits as you can into one. So like one of the things that I like to do in my morning routine is sit under my red light. I also like to sit on my acupressure mat, and I also like to ice roll my face. Well, each of those individually takes like 10 minutes. So by the time that I've done all three of them, I've just spent 30 minutes. And like now I have to wake up 30 minutes earlier if I want to do the things that are helping me be healthier, happier, what are the things that I like to have in my routine. It's taking a really long time. What if I just combine it into one? So first thing in the morning, my alarm goes off, I turn the red light on, I get on the acupressure mat under the red light, and I'm ice rolling my face while I'm doing breath work. That's 4 things in my system that I just incorporated to one. It takes 10 minutes now. Optimizing it to be as efficient, effortless, time-saving, and thoughtless as possible is going to be game-changing for you and how you show up.
So again, Ellie just said combining all of it. That might not feel natural to you. You might be like, oh my gosh, this is a lot at once. My advice for you, step 4, is do not quit. I hate quitters. I've just always have my entire life. Stay consistent. Stay consistent. When things get hard and uncomfortable, why are you quitting? Why are you quitting? I've always just like wanted to shake people when they like quit, because like it's like why? Because get comfortable with the uncomfortable, stay consistent. Systems only work if you stick with them. Same exact thing, just through a lot of things in life. If you stick with it, it's gonna come.
Yeah,
Do
totally.
not quit. I, as a soccer player, like a lot of times I could just not get a move right. I just couldn't. It was frustrating. I tried. I'd do my 10 minutes of work every day. I just couldn't get it. And I just wanted to quit. That's all I wanted to do was just quit. It was not going to work if I just quit. It finally did work. It was frustrating. It was uncomfortable. I was like, oh my gosh, for 10 minutes, I don't want to work on this. And I just couldn't get it. I did. I still continued with it. It finally stuck to me, and it finally just became a habit and natural in games to use that move at the end of the day. Let the actions become habits. Again, for 10 minutes every day, I was doing this move, frustrating, wanted to quit, frustrating, stuck with it. It became a habit in the game. It's like, okay, scissor over this person, Maradona, whatever. It was just easy at that point because I'd been practicing it. Again, it was frustrating. I wanted to quit. I wanted to just go inside and eat cereal or something. I was in middle school. I don't know what I wanted to eat, but I just wanted to watch my Disney Channel and not do anything. I wanted to quit. I didn't quit. Stay consistent. It was easier, helped me be more successful in the long run. I'm glad I didn't quit at the end of the day. Again, show up for yourself. Show up for your system. Do not try a system you commit and don't commit to it. Don't half-ass the progress, because if you half-ass the progress, you half-ass the results. It's not like, oh, instead I'm just only going to do 5 minutes today. No, that's the thing called half-assing. We're not going to do it. We're going to do the full time, because I promise you, if you just cut your time in half or cut something in half that you're supposed to be doing, you're going to feel the results later. You may not think you will, but at the end of the day, it's like, oh yeah, I'll go out and have one drink. It's fine. Like one drink an hour. Great. I'll just take that hour out of my nighttime routine, go out and have a drink. You're going to feel it in the morning. I've done it. Absolutely. You will at the end of the day. It'll catch up to you. Again, it just will. Stay consistent. Don't quit. Just be strong in that.
Yeah, I'm going to take it back to what we talked about toleration being a silent killer. It might not even be as big as like going out and drinking the night before. It might be something like, even I have noticed in myself, if I am not super intentional about, we were just talking about this, if I'm not super intentional about my nighttime routine the night before, I feel it in the morning. So if I don't know when to put my computer down and stop working, which is one of my most toxic traits that I have really got a hammer down on, it's the focus of the week for me, guys. If I don't put my computer away away. And then it hits 11 o'clock. I'm like, well, crap. Like, I need to be up early in the morning to go do my workout. I know that I do all these things in my nighttime routine to help me unwind, relax, sleep a little bit better, de-stress, unplug at the end of the day. It's already 11 o'clock. I'm supposed to be up at 4:30 in the morning. I care more about sleep right now than the system. I'm going to go to bed. And then I wake up the next morning and I feel disoriented. I'm already starting my day on a bad note. Like, it's the little things too that creep up on you. So be very, very intentional about committing to the system that you set. If you know that your super thorough, insane nighttime routine is going to set you up for the most successful morning, you better stick with that nighttime routine. Because if you don't, and you wake up in the morning and you're like confused about why you don't feel like a great version of yourself to start the day, like, the proof is in the pudding. Stay consistent with it. All of that said, it's super, super important to make sure that your system is actually working for you. There's a really, really fine line between this is unnatural at first, it's going to take some getting used to, but it's actually efficient and it's working well for me. And then also, like, this is just straight up not working. And I'm actually wasting more energy, more effort, more time trying to make this thing work that's not working for me. Like, that is failing you just as bad as not showing up is. So, step 5 in your blueprint for creating your effective system is to adjust for optimization when needed. Sometimes a system that you think is going to work isn't actually going to work. Like Jill and I have been saying this whole time, it's trial and error. We still are making adjustments to our systems. Your systems change with you. They can't be so rigid that this is the system that you follow for the rest of your life and that's it. Like, your system grows as you grow, your system changes as your circumstances change. How can you make sure that that system is most optimal for you? If it's not working, change it. There's a big difference between making adjustments for more efficiency and finding new ways that you can habit stack and cutting out dead weight when you can, and maybe replacing something that's not working with something that is. That is different than making an excuse because it feels unnatural and it's not second nature at first. You have to be consistent with it for it to become second nature. Just make sure that it's actually working well for you.
So y'all are all thinking this. I know I am. That was a lot. A system feels like that is just too much. Trust me, you're probably already doing one without you realizing it. You all probably have something you do before you go to bed, whether it's scroll on TikTok or whether it's just natural habit for you, or you watch your Netflix show or you make your tea or your hot chocolate. We all do something. I know you're probably saying like, "Oh yeah, I do that." This is meant to be easier for you and on yourself. It's not meant to be harder. Like, oh my gosh, I have to just adapt all of this stuff and change it and add all of these things to feel successful. No, sometimes like you're just going to need one thing to feel successful at the end of the day and find out what that works for you. Again, maybe it is drinking your hot chocolate before you go to bed. You just feel happy and great and it gets your cravings out of the way. Maybe that is your system to feel successful the next morning. It doesn't have to be a long laundry list of items. This is designed to make it easier for you so you don't have to think. You just do the motions and then it'll help you reach your goals by the end of the day because you're just going through the motions. Every result you do or don't have is a direct reflection of systems you do or don't have in place. So think about that. Think about your results and what you did to get there. That was a system, whether you believe it or not. And think about results that you have not seen yet. Maybe you haven't taken the steps in the right direction. Maybe you're just dealing with decision fatigue or you're burned out and you just gave up on it. Try to set a system. It really will help and it will really help push you to get those results that you want at the end of the day. If you're feeling overwhelmed, it's not because you don't have time. It's because you don't have a strong system. Again, decision fatigue, burnout, that's because you just are using your time to decide on all the things. Create a system. It's already designed for you. Sometimes I need to write it down and just have a checklist on my morning mirror or my mirror in the morning when I wake up. It's like, okay, I need to do this, this, and this. It's already decided for me. I just need to do the motions. That's an easy way to just start in the system if you're new to it before it becomes a habit. Just have that little post-it note, check it off, and then you're good to go. Have that system, have the decisions made for you. I always like to decide the things the night before, or that's why Ellie and I plan so rigidly. The night before, we text at 9 p.m. and we're like, okay, what time is the gym? What time are we going to glow? What time are we doing this? So that it's just already decided for us. And if we need to pivot on time, great. We just know we have to do it today at some point at the end of the day. Makes it so much easier for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to be very, just like leave y'all with this, that your system is the same as your routine. So if you keep hearing the word system and you're like, that's scary, that's rigid, I don't want a system, like that's too much effort for very little reward. Like, it's the same as your routine. So my nighttime routine is my system that I use to set myself up for success the next morning. It's all a system. It depends on how you want. It's like just a different way to frame it. You want your system to work for you. You don't need to, it's like, just like Jill said in the opening, it's about working smarter, not harder. This right here is your sign to stop trying so hard to find things that work and to just start structuring a little bit smarter. Where can you be strategic and where can you be more efficient? What swaps can you make to optimize your morning and nighttime routine to set yourself up for a fantastic day? It's really just about making it easier on yourself, and that's the gist of it.
And if y'all don't know where to start, DM us. We're
Yep,
more than happy to help
always.
you. We always love to hear what's going on in your lives or what's working and what's not and what you need help with and what your big goal is.
Yeah,
Tell us. We'd love
absolutely.
to
We're
hear
here
from
for
you.
you. We're here for accountability. If you need help structuring a system that works, we're happy to help you do that as well. Just shoot us a little DM and let us know.
Y'all are so awesome. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.